Trina here with RoofSnap.
And I'm Jason, and welcome to another hands-on demo.
Yes.
Katrina, what are we taking a look at here?
So today we're going to look at really how to fix maybe a poorly drawn sketch.
Well, today I want to show you on an iPad. This is the device that I use day in and day out, so it's the one I'm most comfortable on. And I just can't tell you guys how many times we have a new subscriber who maybe sends us an email or gives us a call and says, hey, I drew all the lines and the squares are way off. Your guys' product doesn't calculate correctly and stuff like that. And so what we want to respond with is just some helpful tips on how to accurately draw the roof so that you are getting accurate measurements, and how to clean up one that maybe you've already started where you've put a lot of time into it. Because RoofSnap will always calculate the surface area correctly, just as long as the drawing has been done correctly. We want to point out shaded areas do represent the surface area, but it does need to take into account some very specific things. For example, I'm going to use this remove tool and remove the shading of this of this facet here. And you can see that this one pitch label here is applying to both sides of the roof. And that immediately lets me know that the ridge is not separating one side from the other. For areas of roofs that are lower versus areas of roofs that are higher with regard to stories, we can see here it looks like the lines were connected or at least touching the eave edge here of an upper roof, where they should actually go past in order to create some overhangs. Here, a valley connecting to the end of where a rake meets an eave. Some crooked lines and some other things. Maybe it looks like this step wall actually goes out and connects at the end of this upper plane. So you do have to pay attention to the geometry of the roof as you draw it. My recommendation is when you have a drawing that is pretty far gone, you may want to start simply by either deleting all the lines and starting from scratch, or pressing and holding on lines that you know have to be redrawn while in edges mode. And you'll get this little dialog box allowing you to delete individual lines. So I'm going to begin to go through and delete out lines that I know have to be redrawn in order to make this drawing more accurate and to get all of these facets to close.
Oh, and that was one continuous line.
That was one continuous line representing two rakes that need to be split at the ridge. Now down here it looks like these little eaves weren't drawn in, so those will have to be corrected. So we'll have to redraw both of these rakes and the valley on this side and the valley. Oh, not the valley on this side. We can reposition that one. Here, it looks like that eave has extended all the way up. And let's go ahead and go into draw mode. I'm curious what this eave actually connects to. So let's touch and hold on it. Oh, and see, here, the end point of this line was just attempted to be attached to the middle of this line, or not in the exact middle, but a little ways up. Well, problem is ends of lines can only connect to other ends of lines. So I'll show you how that works. I will have to go ahead and delete this line in order to redraw it and connect it accordingly. So this rake looks good. This ridge looks good. This ridge looks like it's just hanging out there, but that's fine. We can move it over a little bit and connect the step walls. Down here, it looks like those lines will be okay once we reposition it, but this one right here will need to be redrawn. And one more, we're going to go and press and hold in the draw mode on this line and see, okay, it's not actually connected to anything. So while we're here, let's just go ahead and pull it a little bit past so it's in the right place when we're ready to draw the next line.
Looks good.
Okay, so let's go back into facets. First thing I want to take care of is this ridge, which means I will have to delete this rake over here in order to redraw it. Press and hold, delete the line. Yep. See, one continuous line for 2 rakes.
Yep.
Well, that's easy to fix. So when we delete that line, we can go in, start from the ridge, draw down, looking for that large red circle to start the line, and that large red circle means we've connected 2 points together to connect the line. So let's go back to facets. This one's closed. This one will close as soon as we correctly draw this front section. So I'm going to press and hold here and reposition this up more in the center of the gutter and the center of the valley. Let's turn on 90 mode to keep these lines nice and straight. Come up, connect to the ridge, come over. Let's back this guy up a little bit because it comes down, let's see, press and hold. Comes down right here into the bottom of the valley and draw that valley up. But in order to get these valleys in the right location, we're going to press and hold on the top of this and slide that ridge up. Then come down to the bottom and just press and hold and slide it over a little bit until our little cursor tails let us know that we're nice and straight. Then the little eave on this edge where the gutter is as well. So this upper story section should be pretty good at this point. We're looking for one pitch label for each area, and if we use the remove tool, we can see that they apply to their individual sections. All right. Back to the draw. Let's slide this one over a little bit to create the overhang. And then let's bring it to the ridge, but for basically following the profile of these rakes. To the eave, and then from the eave all the way over, and then up the rake. Actually, I think it comes to here, and then comes up to, let's slide that over a little bit just to stay consistent with the drawing. Excuse me, consistent with the image.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can start a new rake from the ridge and come down. And let's just check our progress by going into facets. All right, good so far. We have the overhang. We have shaded in areas.
Good.
Back into pan and zoom to move the drawing around and zoom in. And this part gets a little tricky here, but again, understanding the geometry of a roof and the architectural layout. So there is an overhang here. It comes all the way down to the corner. The step flashing comes back up to the ridge. And what are these lines doing? Let me pull these out so I can see them a little better. I'm going to press and hold on that. Oh, look at how that's connected.
Interesting.
So let's go ahead and delete that one there. Edges mode, press and hold. Then we're just going to grab this one and pull it all the way down because there is a little bit of step wall right there. All right, back into facets. So far, so good.
Wonderful.
Now let's fix this rear section. Let's go ahead and reposition where the ridge and the rakes come together. Bringing that all the way down, making it nice and square. And then let's add the step wall over here. And then let's level everything out. So we use these red cursor tails a lot just to get lines nice and straight with one another. Unless the whole thing has been drawn in 90 mode and drawn accurately, then you don't have to worry so much about using these cursor tails to get everything nice and straight. Just keep going to facets as you draw. If they're not shaded in blue, then you know something's wrong. If you're not seeing double shading for obvious overhangs, then again you know something is wrong with the drawing. Alright, so what we're looking for is the ability to connect our cursor to a point. That large red circle let me know that there was a point right here where these rakes are split from left to right. So I can draw the ridge in, create some overhang, usually about 1 foot unless you know that the overhangs are much larger than that. Then we come out here to the eave and connect up at the top. Then we come out to the far eave, bring it down, and then bring it over and connect to the top where the ridge meets the step wall. Facets mode one last time, double shading, looking good. Let's bring it all the way out. I'm not going to worry about the dormers right now. We have a couple other videos for complex dormers and overhangs. So please check those out if you're going to be drawing in dormers on your roof. But here, you have to, just because all the lines are drawn correctly and everything is shaded in, if you see that your measurements are short and your drawing is a bunch of yellow lines, that is a clear indicator that you have a little bit more work to do before your measurements are going to be accurate. First of all, you have to put pitch onto the roof, and I'll show you why. Let's go ahead for this demo and assert that everything is a 7/12 and hit apply to all. Now we have a 7/12 pitch on every slope. This rake edge here, for example, I got to lean way in, looks like 18 feet. The measurement's right there. You may not be able to see it, so take my word for it. Now, because there is a 7/12 pitch slope, watch what happens to the length of that line when I label it as a rake. Okay, you probably couldn't see that, so I'm going to lean way in, 20.9 feet. So that rake grew 2 feet simply by adding the correct label to the line.
Right.
This tells us that our linear measurements will not be accurate until we have applied all of our line labels. So I typically start with my eaves and just work my way around. Oh, that's not an eave. I'll come back and fix that. And there's a few little lines I'll have trouble getting until I zoom in. But then you can hop over to rakes and begin to tap through all of those. And you will have to pan and zoom from time to time to go in and label lines that are a little too small to label in a fully zoomed out mode. Now, I'm not going to go all the way through and label up all the lines, but you get the idea. Until every line is labeled and no longer yellow, and every facet has a pitch value, you won't have accurate measurements. Anything we can do to help you draw more accurately, please give us a call or send an email to support@roofsnap.com.
Yes, please.
If for any reason you just aren't thrilled with DIY, draw it yourself, do remember that we have a Sketcho service, a bunch of technicians in-house who will sketch up complicated roofs like this for you and upload them all ready to go directly into your RoofSnap account.
Yes, you can see pricing for Sketchos at the bottom of our pricing page on the website. And please feel free to give us a call if you have any questions regarding how to order or how to draw in any of this complex stuff.
Yep. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.